All right, let's get to this Trisha situation. So, as we're all aware, Tati Westbrook is now back on social media. And as we're aware as well, Trisha has been very closely covering Dramageddon. She's been doing it on different social media platforms, and she's been kind of revisiting it. And also, Trisha was a part of Dramageddon. I feel like there's always been a time when Trisha has been a part of, like you look back on a time period in the internet, and like somewhere, if you like really dig in, you will see that Trisha Paytas was a part of it or involved somehow, right? So she's now talking about basically Tati Westbrook, talking about James and Jeffrey and Shane, and obviously we know Trisha is so closely aligned with this. At that time period, she was making videos such as the Oscar-winning Tati Dumb as Hell, which is one of my favorite videos ever posted on a platform. I think it's a lot. The fallout with Shane was around this time, her saying the Jeffrey Vegas story. So she has a lot of opinions whenever it comes to Dramageddon. I always think it's really interesting hearing her insight. So let's get to this. I said we were going to do it in the last stream. We're going to do it now. She is joined by her sister in this. Trisha's a living Easter egg, literally. She's joined by her sister instead of Oscar because he's still on vacay. But let's get to it.
Wait, so was it his daughter?
Basically Lana then replied to all of this with the simple note.
Can we speed it up a little bit?
It's very,
She also thought that like essential oils can.
Why did they do that? That's not very
Podcast?
recent.
No. And Michelle started off with like
Actually, I just realized it's Trisha. We cannot watch this any quicker. We need to slow it down.
a while ago, so there's probably a lot of updates. I'm like, okay, so why didn't you put it out when it came out? Like, we want to hear it fresh. But regardless, Michelle Phan asked me to be on her podcast, not personally, but they did reach out and they're like, do you want to be on her podcast? And I just didn't respond because I was like, I don't know if that's my vibe, but maybe it is my vibe because allegedly she was part of a cult in like 2021 that thought they could heal people that were in wheelchairs.
She doesn't still think that?
She might. She also thought that like
Michelle Phan? I saw. Thank you so much, Nab, and moderators for your amazing work tonight. I really appreciate it. It is so crazy that people were commenting on my thing being like, isn't Michelle Phan in a cult? And I was like, what? Yes, this is he gets that 5% sister. Yeah.
essential oils
I completely forgot that people were saying Trisha already speaks to 2X, yeah.
can heal COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that's what, when you sent that text last night, I'm like, oh, great, I've been seeing that.
Oh, you thought that was it? I was like, no, this came out like hours ago.
like,
This is breaking
oh.
news. No, I don't know. She seems actually normal and like well adjusted.
She seemed normal.
Although she did say she meditated for 5 hours without peeing, and I was like, that's weird. Like, don't blame your bladder. But
I've only been sitting here for 2 hours. I'm like,
how are you doing? Okay. Do you want to go?
No.
We have a half hour. Are you
We're
sure?
gonna bust this one out.
If you have to go, you should not hold it for a
No.
half hour. Okay.
I'm fine.
Anyways, so Tati, who I'm just being familiar with this year, thanks to our Dramageddon series on Patreon that did very well. Everyone loved it over there. I had never gotten into Dramageddon. I was going through my own Dramageddon in 2019. I was in mental hospital. I was in and out. I was loopy doop.
The craziest thing about Trisha, and I always say this, is she, talks about how she was not involved in Dramageddon, and maybe, she genuinely believes that and doesn't remember a lot of it. And, she was in mental hospitals and stuff to her defense. But it's so crazy that she says that, and, like, she's such a deep part of the Dramageddon, even by sister lore, because she made videos on it in real time. Obviously, she's saying she doesn't remember them, but she was a part of it.
I was just doing everything. I was hiding from my family to see if they wouldn't think I was dead.
And by the way, I do believe her when she says she doesn't remember it because of that time period in her life. But it is just ironic that, like, she is, like, one of the main people when you look at this in a broader horizon. She was speaking on it. She was defending Shane. She was doing this, and obviously if she says she doesn't remember, then I'll take her at her face value for it. But it always does make me side-eye when she says that.
If I'd get a text from them, and sometimes I would and sometimes I didn't, but also it was just me. I wasn't replying, and they're probably like, that's just Trish, she never replies. It was a wild year. Then I went on tour, and then I got my Lamborghini stolen, got a house, rented it, had a ghost house in it, had a guy come stay with me, got me hooked on drugs, but then I was off of it. But I was very skinny, had blue lips. My sister came over, everything was smashed, and alarms went off, and my dad called and like, are you alive? And I was like, I don't know. So that was my 2019, and Dramageddon was happening, so I was not paying attention. I was like,
oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, and it is true to acknowledge as well that going through severe mental issues can lead to blacking out as well.
I have no idea what's happening. But we familiarized it. Did you watch? You should have watched Dramageddon to prepare for this. Did you watch any of the Dramageddons, the Bi Sister videos, any of it?
No, but I am familiar with
She said, I don't give a fuck.
And you and I can react to Dramageddon.
Okay.
I'm going to react with it to everyone. Then I'll react with it with Moses. Holly Madison said she's down.
Well,
She-
I'll be here till 10 p.m. tonight.
yeah, let's do it, honestly, because it's fascinating. It's crazy to watch because everybody was like Team Tati, and then, you know, I'm obviously not a James Charles fan, but I was like, okay, this whole thing is
People commenting saying the casual lore drop.
That's not how I remembered it.
what?
I
How do you
thought
remember it?
everybody was Team James.
Well, not at first. She made the first video being like, James is a predator, and she literally calls him that. She goes, he hits on straight men. When then James came with her receipt and was like, this guy is gay, and admitted to it, and like sent all these texts to me and whatever. Anyways, there's a whole thing all over these gummies, right? Basically, she had her hair, and he promoted Sugar Bear hair for Coachella
Yeah.
tickets.
Damn gummies. It always comes back to those damn gummies. I do want to try them.
At the time, he was 18. She's known him since he was 17, and she brought that up again. And I was like, okay, weird. Why are you 37 being friends? Anyways. So she went on this podcast, and you know what? Her opening story, I was like, you know, Tati's a human being, and I feel like she has gone through a lot. She talks about having a traumatic childhood and a traumatic time in her 20s, so I was like, I kind of felt for her. But I guess the main takeaway of this is, like, you know, obviously, my favorite part is Michelle Phan being like, this is like, she goes, it was so surprising to see you do Dramageddon because you're so not drama. And I was like Tati's all, it's like me being like, I'm not even drama. Like, why do people even associate with, like, Tati is drama. She started Dramageddon, right? She started it. She made.
Well, here's my thing. In Tati's defense, I don't believe that Tati is drama. I think that ultimately she became it. But I believe that, you know, Tati didn't think it was going to blow up to what it did. I think that she thought it was going to blow up, but in the beauty community. I don't think that Tati thought that it would become a staple in her career. I don't think that she is obsessed with drama. I don't think she looked at it from a dramatic point of view. I do still believe Tati in that. I believe Tati in the fact that, like, and maybe that's me being naive. Yes, Tati did start this, and she did it. And, you know, as much as she'll blame Shane or Jeffree, like, she ultimately did it. But I do believe that her intentions in this weren't to do a pipeline into drama. If I'm being honest, maybe she's drama now, but I don't think she was before it. Maybe a little bit of shit talking behind the scenes when it comes to, like, companies and stuff, but I don't think drama as we think of it.
2 videos before James Charles ever responded.
Well,
What? Who
here's
started
the
it?
thing.
What?
I think there's some puppeteering happening.
Well, that's what she's saying. She's saying that.
Which I totally, after seeing this, I could kind of see the puppeteering. There's similarities between one person in the middle of the story between 2 friends and 2 friends that you had.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you're blaming Shane. So Shane and Jeffree, she's alleging. Is that what you're saying that they told? This was kind of a bombshell, I think, that she never shared before, or maybe she did in the follow up, the 2020 video, but maybe not in these words. Basically, she was saying that she was so Dramageddon comes out 2019. She's against James Charles. Then James Charles against her. Then 2020, she flipped.
Dramageddon by Sister is going to be in history books. I hope my child is in school and they go to, you know, chapter 2019 by Sister. I want them to learn that shit.
And she's like, Shane and Jeffree were in my
The birthday dinner, I want them to be able to recite the entire thing. They need to know what happened at that goddamn birthday party.
ear, blah, 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 blah. Okay, might be true. She was saying Shane and Jeffree basically was telling her, you know, before the first sister, like for their first video, was like, YouTube basically is like, we don't want any association with James Charles. We're going to deplatform him. So she's like, I'm going to make this video declaring like, I don't want anything to do with him. Didn't make sense because this is before all of the James Charles allegations. This is before, so it really does sound like a personal vendetta. Look, not to say they wouldn't be that way, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but again, she's 37 years old when she makes
and
this.
this is also a one-sided story. So this is all speculative, my opinion is.
I feel like Shane and Jeffree maybe haven't said anything about this.
They probably don't.
Well, here's my thing. Do I believe that Shane and Jeffree single-handedly were the culprits behind By Sister? No, because that's not true. Tati made the video and she posted it and she stood behind it. Do I believe that the reason she made the video was because she was being fed so much information and so overwhelmed by Shane and Jeffree creating this picture around her that she had to do it? Yes. Who does that mean is responsible? Everyone. But in the past, I have been called out for kind of, you know, being very easy on Tati, and people will be like, why are you passing all the blame? She did upload the video. So I'm very careful when I talk about it now, because I'm also acknowledging that Tati posted the video. But do I personally believe that Shane and Jeffree were the biggest pulls behind this video? Absolutely. Tati still did the video. And we can question the fact that she promoted her brand so much in it. And Jeffree Star Cosmetics was behind her. They're all to blame. They're all to blame.
Okay, because like, hello, it was like 17 years ago.
Yeah, and true. And like, I would agree with that. Like, who cares? It's 5 years ago. And I think the majority of people think that. Also, kind of slay that she still talks about it. I'm like, go for it, girl. Write the book. Write Dramageddon in the book. Like, I would buy it. You know what I mean?
My kids will be studying it.
Like, how... if you're the only one talking, right, then it just becomes like that's your truth or whatever.
Right. So that's why I wanted to
so you're like,
make clear, like, there's only one side. You've got to hear all sides of the story.
Yeah, and I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that they probably didn't like James at the time. And again, I wasn't in that group at the time. Like, truly, I wasn't. Like, 2019 is my year after the Vlog
That's
Squad.
where all, like, makeup artists were, like, the main...
Yeah.
You are not MUA.
No. Although, you know what?
Even though you
Still
tried.
not an MUA. No, but I was on the Eat Your Hollywood story about it, even though I had no idea what was happening. And I was like, yes, I'll be on this and give you my 2 cents. But I did do the deep dive. I watched all of it. But it's like, okay, you're 37, right? And so, like, I think you know what, because the whole thing was weird. The video was weird. Like,
No,
why?
for sure. Can I just tell you this? It gave me Mary Kay Letourneau vibes.
What?
No.
What?
No. Meaning,
okay,
like,
that's
no.
a little
No.
strong. Okay,
Not in the
explain.
sense of, like, what she was doing.
In the sense that, that's not.
Like, you know, in that one video when she got out of prison, she's like, who was the boss? Who was the boss?
Okay, my question to chat is, how do you think the responsibility falls when it comes to this? I saw someone had commented and they were like, yeah, Tati, like, pulled the trigger, but Shane and Jeffree loaded the gun or something like that. I think that's a brilliant way to put it.
It was very, like, he was...
And I also think it's important to note that years later, Tati would, stand up and support James. And then if everything she knew at the start was true about him being a predator, then why would you go back in your word, even if it was just to save public face? Surely you should not want to be around that person. In the sense that...
was the one pursuing the relationship, the friendship.
That's actually so true.
And that's what I mean by, it's like, that's really weird.
That's what I've been saying. And that's what I've been saying. Because when I found all this out, and she was, like, admittedly being, like, he was 16 when I met him, 17 when we became friends. And I was like, and you're 37? Like, truly, I'm not even 37 yet. So I was just thinking, like, this is so odd. Like, I couldn't even imagine a 17-year-old in my DMs pursuing me and be like, well, you're very persistent. I guess I'll be your
Was Tati 37 back then or 37 now? What age is this woman? Tati Westbrook age. Tati Westbrook is 42? I thought she was in her 30s. All right, girl. She looks amazing.
I guess I'll be your mom. Like, it's just like such a weird thing.
And I'm not saying anything inappropriate happened, by the way. I'm just saying, like, the...
But we've always said this with those kind of relationships. They're inappropriate regardless if it's sexual or not because of the power imbalance of just age alone.
Because you were messaging drama channels. I'll always love saying that. Brookie B, I believe Shane and Jeffree manipulated Tati, and that is my answer. Jasmine, I think Shane and Jeffree have the most fault in theory because they fully planned to destroy James's career using Tati, but Tati herself was made an easy scapegoat. Pink Lemonade, I think all of them are definitely in the wrong, but I feel like if James never worked with Sugar Bear Hair, she would have never made by sister, so I don't think the allegations are what started it. That's also to note, like, would she have continued protecting James if she knew allegations against him, whether they were true or false, if he had not ate those damn gummy bears?
But also, she says it herself. I was more popular. He was just starting. So there's also that power imbalance. It's like Adam with Colleen with Adam McIntyre. I say this all the time. Like, just the age gap alone of a 31-year-old.
It's always a jump scare whenever I hear my name.
14 or whatever it was at the time. Like, it's just inappropriate, even if it's not sexual. You know what I mean? It's just like there's just it's this imbalance. It's not. You shouldn't have a friendship with those people. So the fact that she brought that up again and was like reiterating he was 17 pursuing me, you're absolutely right. Because I was like, why is this still so unsettling? Because like I really try to give her the benefit of the doubt.
You shouldn't even have to say anything like that.
Yeah,
and
like,
even when you draw attention to it, that's weird too.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, but don't you see, like, you're the adult. You were 37. Like, how do you not see, like, I don't care if he was, like, pounding your door down and being like, please be my friend. Like, you're the adult. Like, what? But she aired him out, like, from the beginning over. Right. And it was over vitamins. It was over vitamins, which, by the way, he promoted.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that Trisha's making this point that this did start over those damn gummy bears. So for people to be like, well, Tati had to reveal the truth. Tati was looking out for her own company. She was looking out for her own company. She was promoting her company, and that's also something that we need to acknowledge. No one is innocent in this.
He even showed, he's like, I promoted these before Sugar Bear Hair. I always did shout outs for you. Like, what? So she's saying, like, oh, I didn't want anything from James. Like, I was helping him. But meanwhile, this whole video is because he didn't promote your vitamins, because he promoted your competition's vitamins. It was so weird. I'm like, so you did want something from him. Like, it wasn't a free.
Again, another great point that Trisha's bringing up. Tati focuses so much on this transactional thing. It wasn't a transactional friendship. It wasn't a transactional. But then why would this be such a big problem if he was promoting another brand? Because you didn't want him to promote your brand anyway, even though he did. Like, I sided with James a lot in this, and I think the No More Lies video from James Charles, that's going to be in history books as well. That was one of the biggest clocks of all time.
Exchange. It wasn't exchange. It wasn't like a friendship just because you were being nice. It was so bizarre, and I watched John again, and it made me so angry.
And also for Tati not to acknowledge that she did get things out of being James Charles's friend as well is also a little bit inaccurate. You know, Tati got fame out of the friendship. She got money. She got promotion. She got a new audience. So I do think that the way she tells the story at times is completely fabricated. I really want to watch Monsters, Inc. tonight. I've decided. I'm really sick right now, as I told you. I've decided that I want to make soup and watch Monsters, Inc. And maybe even back-to-back with Monsters University. What a beautiful night I have ahead of me.
I, like, again, never thought I'd have to defend James Charles, but, like, they really did, like, put him in such a bad position, like, painted him as, like, this, like, predator. And again, this is before everything else came out, like the Snapchats and stuff like that. But really...
Sorry, last point, and then I'll get back to the video. Should I watch Monsters, Inc. or should I watch Wreck-It Ralph? Should I watch the 2 Monsters, Inc.'s and the 2 Wreck-It Ralphs? I just remember Colleen's in Wreck-It Ralph. Let me know.
Really was saying basically he was like gay and knew this guy was straight and was like, you know, being inappropriate with him when that wasn't the case, and he showed the exchange and the guy was consenting back.
Sucking dick and cock, and you did it at my birthday dinner.
Was like, oh, I was so shy to say hi to you, and they hung out at the hotel, like all that stuff like that. But still, you're 37 trying to drag this, you know.
Love how she said drag.
And I, like, again, never thought I'd have to defend James Charles, but like they really did like put him in such a bad position, like painted him as like this like predator. And again, this is before everything else came out, like the Snapchats and stuff like that. But really was saying basically he was like gay and knew this guy was straight and was like, you know, being inappropriate with him when that wasn't the case, and he showed the exchange and the guy was consenting back, was like, oh, I was so shy to say hi to you, and they hung out at the hotel, like all that stuff like that. But still, you're 37 trying to drag this.
Love how she says that.
You know,
it's like how she says bag, big.
17-year-old, now 18-year-old down because once again he's not promoting your vitamins. Like, it's so wild. It was the craziest thing, but also painting him to be a predator. And she's like, at my birthday dinner, and in this podcast with Michelle Phan, she's like, you know what? Haven't celebrated my birthday since. And I was like,
oh my God.
Girl, what? Like,
I'm like, first of all, I don't even celebrate my birthday, and I'm only 31, so calm down.
Nobody does.
Who needs a birthday party when you're this old, okay?
And that's coming from people who are in their 30s.
Right.
Like, we're there. It's like, she's like, I haven't celebrated a birthday since. And I was like,
I'm like, oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, also, nobody needed to know this. You put out all this information. You put out the first video, you put out the second video, and only in a second.
Me, on the other hand, I love a birthday party. I love attending birthday parties. I love throwing birthday parties. Any excuse. Anyone could invite me to a birthday party. I'm there. I love a birthday party.
Second video was like, I just want this all to go away. I'm like, but you started this. Like, I hate when people are like, yeah, I want it to all go away. You know how you make something all go away? Stop talking about it.
Right.
Don't talk about it.
Someone said, Roxanne said, but wasn't Trisha dragging James on the H3 when she did Frenemies? Well, here's the thing. Adam McIntyre famously anti-James Charles. But when it comes to Bi Sister, for the most part, I can acknowledge that at that time period, I think for a big portion of that, he was done very wrong. I think that a lot of adults lied about him profusely. And I think it's really unfortunate that James Charles ended up becoming exactly what he was accused of. You know what I mean? We had the guys that were, being thrown into the bi-sister thing coming out and saying that James didn't, act that way with them or whatever, defending him. It's unfortunate that years later, he would almost become the monster. So what if he's a monster? That people implied he was. Which is always something that I just don't get. Like, that is the most confusing thing to me. I'm like, do I believe at that time period during bi-sister, and I'm going to be dead honest with you, do I believe that James Charles was a predator? No, I don't. I think he was an egotistical kid who didn't respect the fact that maybe he shouldn't get everything he wants. And that sometimes came with the way he would text boys and stuff like that. But ultimately, the boys came forward saying that what was said wasn't actually the truth or whatever it was in the No More Lies video. They ended up saying that James didn't force them and stuff. And then I'm like, why years later have all these stories came true with new people? I'm like, what? Like, number one, you wouldn't want to, this is going to sound so stupid, but I'm dumbing this down for myself and just so I get my point across. Number one, you wouldn't want to be a predator in the first place. Point blank, period. Number two, if you've been falsely accused of being a predator, wouldn't you even more so not want, like, no one wants to be a predator at all. No one should be a predator, but that's a given. If you've already massively been accused of one, what?
And she's like, I just really felt I needed to distance myself because, according to her, like, James and Shane were in my ear, these powerful people, and I was like, I should distance myself. And I was just like, nothing even happened. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest logic. It's like, I've been told something about you, so I'm going to get ahead of it and just distance myself from you. It was the weirdest logic.
What rumors was she talking about that Jeffrey had heard?
I think it was, her? I think it was the YouTube wanting to, like, it was going to deplatform him. She's like, oh, YouTube was going to cut ties with him, so she wanted to get ahead of it. Was there something else?
No, there's rumor mills that happened about her. And I'm like, what does she do?
Oh, right. She's like, oh, yeah, they were telling me that they were hearing. Yeah, right. When she talks about first meeting Jeffrey with Laura Lee at Cheesecake Factory. And he's like, I've been hearing things about you. Yeah, I didn't really get that either. I was just kind of like, I don't know. I guess that people were talking bad about her. I don't know. I was like, maybe James, so she was already implying that he was already talking about you. Again, it's an 18-year-old. This is why you're not friends with 18-year-olds. 18-year-olds are going to talk about you. Like, right. What? Like, I don't know if James did, but I would just assume if I meet an 18-year-old, they're going to gossip and talk.
I think that's also a great point. If I kind of don't think about James Charles in the last couple years and all the things he's been accused of, like, if I try to stick it to the bi-sister time period, if you at like 30-something are befriending 18-year-olds and hating them for acting like 18-year-olds, maybe you're the one that's just stupid. Like, when I think back on it now, I'm like, oh my God, James Charles was nearly ran off the internet for being a little shit and talking shit. Because these adults were like, oh my God, he's talking shit. And then I'm like, he was 18. I would hope he was talking shit. It's a part of life. Like, yeah, you're so mature because you're all nearly 40. But ironically, y'all were the ones that weren't even mature. It's such a great point from Trisha. Maybe don't befriend 18-year-olds. If you don't want someone that acts like they're 18, maybe don't, hang around schools looking for your next friend because they're within that age bracket.
Can be immature because they're 18 or 17, which is even crazier.
Well, this is why I think that.
Hi, Rachel.
Because, like, why would you? Even if this is true, I don't know everyone else's side, but if he said that the very first time they met, like, okay, well, thank you, this guy's got my back. You've got it already, like, this guy's on my side, whatever.
You're talking about Jeffrey.
Jeffrey's on Tati's side, yes.
But I wouldn't think that if I was friends with someone and, like, when people told me Shane would talk to me, I was like, that would never happen. Like, what? Like, people I didn't know, like Gabby Hanna, or people I didn't know would be like, oh, Shane talks so much to you. And I was like, absolutely not. He would never do that, right? Like, wouldn't your first thing be like, okay, James is my friend. You're not. I'm not going to listen to you. So why would she just take that as fact? Oh, really? Like, if someone's
because I guess there was a co-signer, Laura there, and
yeah, but if I someone
Laura Lee being the beacon of truth is crazy.
Just met was like, oh, like Callie's a piece of crap or something, and I'd be like, okay, well, I know Callie, you don't, so
maybe she wanted to step up in the beauty industry because Jeffree at the time was like blowing up.
I think there is a lot to do with that, right? And I think everyone probably was just jealous. I don't know, I'm not in the beauty industry like that, but seemed to be really like catty and cutthroat and all stuff like that. And he was rising, and there may be something to it. And obviously, when he promoted.
Also, that's a great point. You know, Tati does open up about being nervous to meet Jeffree, but ultimately, why would she go ahead with meeting him? You know, she knew that Jeffree was going to be there before she showed up. She said she felt a little bit uncomfortable with the fact he was going to be there because she was scared of him, but she went to that dinner knowing that it was going to be a dinner with Jeffree, which does kind of imply that she wanted to start a friendship with Jeffree, or she wanted something out of, you know, meeting Jeffree. That's how these people in the industry work. It's networking. So her story about, you know, everyone using her, she was also in the industry of using people.
Her hair, she like lost her. Again, I can't fathom that because again, at 36, like the only equivalent I could be is if like Oscar was like a co-host on Canceled or co-host on Impulsive, and it's like, but I wouldn't give a. I wouldn't be like, wow, how dare you give them views with your title? Like, okay, that's fine. I don't know. Like it's like you're 37. Like, why do you care? Like you have a large following thanks to James. You know what I mean? It's like. It's
he's
odd.
the one that blew up.
Even like Tana, if she's like hanging around other podcasters, other people, I don't care. And she's helped me so much. Like I couldn't care less if she helped someone else. Help other people. Like who cares? It's so, and it doesn't hurt me.
But also,
you know?
Tati, did you have any Coachella tickets for him? No, you did not.
No,
yes,
you
did.
Go.
Sugar Bear Hair did.
Oh, absolutely. I would do the same thing. I'd be like, yeah.
Callie's low-key clocking.
Like, sorry, Bangin' Buns, I'm going with Dave's Hot Chicken if they're getting me into Coachella, if I like Coachella. Maybe Donny Osmond, you know what I mean? If they want to get me in Donny Osmond, yes, Natural Hot, I'm going to promote you. But it's...
And also the main thing that Tati kept saying is like, no way this brand just have tickets waiting around for people, as if brands don't literally do that. So I do think as well that while I can say that Tati was, in my opinion, at times a victim of this, I believe as well that like she had her motives.
So, and you know, Bangin' Buns won't give a Bangin' Buns would not care. Like, whatever.
Yeah, we
get it. You gave us.
We don't have that poll.
You know why? Because I've also promoted Bangin' Buns, which James Charles did too. So this is really that situation. It's honestly Bangin' Buns versus Dave's Hot Chicken. And I've been promoting Bangin' Buns, but they would get it if I start promoting Dave's Hot Chicken for Coachella tickets. But it's just wild, again, how it's fine to talk.
If you ever get the chance, there's a 7-hour deep dive on Nikocado Avocado. Wow. Who made that? iNabber. Oh, I love iNabber, but there's no amount of money you could pay me to watch 7 hours of deep diving Nikocado Avocado. I don't find him that interesting. I love iNabber. I'm not saying him. I'm saying Nikocado. What is there to deep dive for that amount of time? I guess drama and stuff. Whatever.
Talk about things if you want, like whatever, that's your story. Because like, I'm gonna say my truth, but I think the constant like victimizing, right? Like you had a large deal in this. Like you started this. You started the video. Like there's literally you tried to take James down. He debunked a lot of stuff. You said you were scared for his life. In Dramageddon, she was like, "Oh, he was on top of a hotel, and I was really scared he was gonna hurt himself." I'm like, "So you posted?"
And you still did it.
I called Shane, and he said, "Don't worry, he's too much of a narcissist." Allegedly, she said this. He's too much of a narcissist. He would never do it. So she's like, "Okay, I'll post the videos." I'm like, if you even thought someone might hurt themselves, someone that's your friend, why would you still post the video? Like it doesn't make any sense. And they did all this before James did anything. James was reaching out to them. James is like at 18 being like, can we stop? Can we talk? They're ignoring him until finally he gets his all ducks in a row. And then guess what? They're like, can we talk about this offline? And everyone's like, you know what? I'm over this drama. I don't want to talk about it. It's like, but you started it. So you can't say like, I'm not about the drama. I just want my truth out there when there was no truth in it. And you just wanted the drama and you just wanted to.
Well, that's what was interesting to me too, is that she brought up how many views it got, and she's like, I never thought it would get 50 million views.
That's a yes.
I thought maybe 4 million. I'm like, okay.
She was analyzing.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. And you know what? All those sales went up. Oscar bought it. He said he bought her. Well, I don't even know what it was called. What is it? Oh,
all
Halo,
I know is
Halo
Sugar
Beauty.
I just know Sugar Bear Hair.
Right, same.
No,
I don't think they're around
shade,
either.
sorry.
But Halo Beauty like went up. You know, so it's like it obviously was for a reason.
I also wonder how many sales Halo Beauty got because of My Sister. Keep in mind that, yes, she made money on the video, I assume, but also she made a lot of money of people buying the product.
The relationship with James was transactional, meaning like you wanted him to promote for you, and once he didn't, you threw him under the bus. And this is someone that you said called you mom, and you looked up to him like a son, which is also very strange and weird. But it's like, what? Why would you do that? And then she was like, called his mom, and I was like,
I always thought that was really weird, especially whenever Trisha would be like, he would call me mom, and like I'm like, I don't know if that's a defense, honey.
Take him. He's all yours now. I'm like, you are so
That was not very
weird,
mom-like of you.
So weird.
Throw your son under the bus.
And all speculation and all this stuff, like the guy that he was like flirting with at the thing ended up being bisexual. Like he ended up hanging out with James. Like, so all this stuff for what? For what reason? It was so weird. And then she comes back in 2020. This is all the drama again with about the Jeffrey, and she goes, we should all just, Jeffrey's gonna make a list of people, and we should all get.
That's one thing I always wanted to know what would happen with. She did do that. She literally was like, we've got to learn to be more forgiving because Jeffrey is going to start exposing things. And then Jeffrey came out with the most perfect response to that and was like, I'm not like that. Even though we know that Jeffrey is, he was able to use Tati's words against her and kind of make her look crazy a little bit. He was like, I'm not like that. I would never do that. And Tati had built up this, like, everyone needs to be on high guard. I think it was one of the funniest things. Jeffrey had the opportunity to do something really funny, and he did it.
Give them grace because like it could be lies. So I think she was like thinking like she was gonna get blackmailed. Well, Jeffrey, no list came out. I think she was going through a lot. I get it. I get that she was like maybe going through an episode or something like that. But also just it's wild to see on a podcast. But you should always know if someone has zero blame in a situation, if they take zero blame, you're getting really like 10% of the story. Like you're getting such a little part of the story, right?
Would you say 5%?
You tell my stories, and not to say right. There's always three sides, but when I do tell a story, I do like to be like, I'm also at fault, right? Like I try to say my faults in situations so you can also hear like the full story as much as I can paint the picture. But when
the thing is, I don't know if hair gummies and skin gummies and shit like that work. I take hair gummies and I take skin gummies, and let me tell you something. The only reason I take them is because I like the flavor of them and something nice to eat first in the morning. Do I think they do anything? Absolutely not. Do I enjoy the fruity flavor?
She takes zero accountability. Like, yeah, he was young. Maybe I probably shouldn't have like.
Has anyone been seeing the videos of in the zoo, the pointing? I've been doing it so often, where it's like getting the people here at the zoo to like show things that are in their bag, and it's going like this. I think it's so fucking funny. Sorry, it's just my head right now.
Or like, engaged with him.
And she never, right. Like, do your collab too. If you want to create content together, have the parents there, whatever.
Yeah.
But make your little makeup video and then leave.
Yeah, not invite him to your birthday party and hang out and have him do your makeup at your wedding. Like, doing all this, intimate, stuff.
Someone said, what's the 5% lore? The 5% lore is that Trisha's sister, who's sitting here, had said that Ethan gets that 5%. When it comes to frenemies or something like that.
With you as an adult is like strange, especially when you are married. It's like it gives me again.
I mean, it's one thing if you want to hire him to do your makeup, that's fine, whatever.
No, for sure, yeah. No, there are like boundaries.
I'm so glad you all know that.
There because she was like, he was at our house, he was at my birthday dinner.
You all continue to inspire me with how chronically online you're all. I love it. I love having such a chronically online audience because I'm also chronically online.
All this stuff like that.
God bless you all.
Open up about stuff and she kind of just used it all against him, like all the stuff he opened up about, which made me kind of sad for James. And then her husband and her, basically James made the first video apologizing to Tati and James, her husband. And I was like, this is also very strange. Like, why are you apologizing? And it was just like a lot. And then he said I shouldn't have apologized. I was just like scared and all this stuff like that. But the Michelle one was wild. The interview was wild because it's her first podcast, and I was like, the stuff she talked about, I was like, girl, and she has like an inspiring story, so I think she could have like left it at that, or she could at least taken part and be like, you know what, I was the drama. I was part of the drama too. And it's like
Could you imagine Tati went on the podcast and started speaking like Nikocado Avocado? You're all ants. This has been a social experiment.
She regretted having the birthday dinner. She didn't regret the video. She said she regretted having that birthday dinner. She goes, I do regret having it. I wish I could go back in time.
Made him so much money off that video. If I put that out, I wouldn't be mad about it.
I would have done like 10 ads. Yeah, I wonder if she did all that back then. She was like, you remember how like beautiful she was too? She was beautiful. She had her tan, she had her thing, and she's like, you guys, like she was skinny in a good way. I say that as a compliment. Her knee, she was just like hugging her knee. I don't know how people can do that, like hug their knee like this and make it look so effortless. I can't. But it's belly and thigh getting in the way. But she did look so beautiful. Everything. There's just no way.
One thing about Tati is she is gorgeous.
Do you want a picture?
That's my tati. Hey guys. She literally had both of her knees up, and they were put together. And they were so.
I love when people listen. Brookie B said, "I'll not be pulled on stage for Adam's tour because I don't know the 5% lore. Therefore, I do not meet the chronically online qualifications." If you do not know what Brookie B is talking about, I pretty much confirmed that I'm going to be announcing a couple shows very soon. I think I don't know if these are confirmed, but like LA, New York, Chicago, maybe Seattle, maybe Texas, something like that, right? And a part of the show is going to be I'm going to bring a bunch of people from the audience on, and you have to be chronically online. And I'm going to ask like deep lore, chronically online things. And I'm very excited for it. So keep an eye out and also keep chronically online. Because if I was to do that right now, one of the questions would be about what is the significance of me doing this?
Yeah, I was like,
I'm so excited.
this video?
Yeah.
Like I said,
So,
I've only seen the
black polish.
thumbnail.
She looked great, and she was crushing it. But I had more notes on this too. But that was, oh, you know, I had to. Oh, I guess she said she did regret making the video. Maybe she said she wished she could go back. But
also, like all the stuff we're saying, it's really about that moment in time when we're talking about James. You know, just that in that. Moment.
Is that a Just Trish Barbie? You can't see it right here.
Not really, like, because since then he
Wow.
himself ruined it completely, and
yeah.
But it's just because sometimes people think we are defending him. I'm like, no, it's just this moment in time was
I think
problematic.
there's always two things that can be right. I always say this, like the Drake Bell situation. Like, yes, you can be a victim and you can also be a perpetrator. You can also be someone, like, it's like a cycle thing, right? Like you can have bad stuff happen to you. You know what I mean? But you could also be a bad person. But so it's like me standing up for this one wrong. And the reason I talk about it is because I think there are so many like young people out there that would want to befriend their favorite YouTuber, right? Even me, right? There's probably like, we meet young girls all the time, like 16, 17-year-old girls. And it's like, I never like engage or follow up too much. Like they'll be like, oh, come to my house for dinner, or, come to like our prom or something. And it's like, again, it's like all innocent and nice.
Oscar gave it to her?
It's just that like line that you like just shouldn't cross because you don't want to give people false hope. You don't want to have, even with my fans that are like early 20s, I always feel bad when it's like, I'm really nice to them, right? And then it's like they come out to California and like I can't hang out or don't want to hang out. And then it's like I feel bad, and I get it because I was also that person. And so I think I just repeatedly say this because it's just like not really like a great dynamic to be a part of, because it's just without anyone even purposely trying this, it's like a bad power imbalance, like between the age gap alone, right? You just think the older person knows more, but then also when there's more followers, if Tati was established before James, and there's already that like weird power imbalance there. And of course people can be manipulated. So it was ironic. Tati's like, I felt manipulated when she was the oldest one in this. Not to say you can't be manipulated by someone younger, but you should also be able to like say like, oh, maybe I don't need to make a video because nothing about James was out already. You know what I mean?
Right.
She's like, I was just trying to get ahead of it, but also like share all the details.
That's what I'm saying. Callie said a good point. Get ahead of what? Tati keeps saying I need to get ahead of it, but ultimately she was the only one that was doing it, so she was getting ahead of herself.
Right. That nothing happened. YouTube never deplatformed him. There was never talks about that. I was so confused by it, and I'm like, Tati,
I think I need to know more of the backstory because I really don't. I'm not very.
Callie looks beautiful.
How long is it?
It takes. We did it in increments, so we watched like the first video. It's like 40 minutes, so we would just have to do it. Thoughts on the Tati? I didn't really get to ask you. I guess you need to do more.
I need to do more research. I'm just telling you face value what I saw.
You think
I gave
you
my
blame
little...
Shane and Jeffrey?
I didn't say that. I said it feels like from her story there's some puppeteering happening.
But again, I think
I don't know why there would be. What would be the reason that Jeffrey and Shane would want to take down?
I guess because they're popular. They had their palette.
I was about to say the palette was coming out at the same time. If you literally watch the conspiracy series, there's a part in it when they are literally saying, like, we're going to release our palette in November. Do you have anything? And Morphe are like the James Charles re-release. So they had a reason to take him down, And
he had his palette that was doing really well with Morphe.
So that's what I was saying. That's what I had down on my notes. I said, do influencers go into friendships and like get all this tea just to like have that viral moment?
Yeah, I think that's why it was like so toxic, right? Is like everyone, it's like, especially the beauty community, everyone's kind of like using each other, but also like manipulating each other. Because truly, when I
felt like that whole era of YouTube, like you were never makeup, you were more like content creator, whatever.
It was just a mess.
And I just felt like it was very cliquey. The whole
beauty
NWA
community will tell you that. I think Jaclyn Hill's been doing podcasts too, and she's been talking about how like cliquey and awful it was, and yeah, the beauty community sounds horrible. And they're frightening. And
No
I'm kind of glad.
offense.
Yeah. Michaela's just doing it single-handedly by herself. She's like, F y'all, I'm doing this myself. I'm having my Dunkin'
Well, she
Donuts.
came in after the game.
Yeah, and she's
I'm
just
talking about when it was like
yeah.
hot. Like
no, it was crazy. They were supposed to have like a reality show. Like it was supposed to be this whole thing. They were the original Mormon.
Oh, that's right.
wives.
Whatever happened to that?
Nothing came to be. I know it was all messy.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. I guess my main thing here is this concept of like, is Tati being truthful when she is talking about the fact that she didn't want to get anything out of this or she didn't expect anything? I'm going to be honest. I think both are true at the same time. I think that she didn't expect it to blow up, but I also believe that she knew she was going to get something out of it, which is why she was promoting her brand. All right. We will leave it there. I really enjoyed the vibe of Trisha and her sister. I really, really, really enjoyed the vibe of that. Callie's gorgeous too. All right. We'll leave it there.